So local winds. Local winds are not micro, right, because they cover a whole kind of city area. Right, so they're meso. I hate to say city area because it's like, well, you know, are you talking Riverview or Brandon or Waimama? It's like, well, the area-ish, okay? Now we already know this first line, winds are caused by pressure and temperature differences. If you don't know that, go back for the last chapter and you can learn all about that. We learned about sea breezes before, right, so I'll just go over this a little bit quicker. But basically, the earth heats up faster. Why is that? Because the land heats up faster. We learned about that. The air rises because hot air rises. So you can see the pressures spreading out here, right? And, well, now this is a high. It wants to go to the low, so there it goes. It's going to the low, but it's got to fall down because now it's cooler. So it falls down. And now it's back at a high, so it wants to go back to the low, and it just keeps going. The land breeze is the exact opposite, and so therefore it happens at night rather than during the day. The land cools down faster because it warmed up faster, so it cools down faster. So it cools down faster, it goes from high to low, it warms up over here. What happens when the air warms? It rises, so now we're into a high, we want to go over to a low, but now we're cold, so we drop back down. Alright, now, here's another thing where winds are named from where they're from, right? We talked about that, the north wind, the westerly winds, the southeastern winds, we talked about those, right? And this one's coming, if you're standing on the land, it's coming from the sea, so that's why it's called a sea breeze, right? If you're standing here, it's a land breeze. It's going from the land. So now we have something called the valley breezes, which here in Florida, don't really care about, right? There's no valleys. But that's just learn the concept in case you are up here at Pikes Peak. So valley breezes, warm air rises, right? Warm air rises, and well, that leaves a big gap here, so the cold air starts to sink. Now the mountain breezes, what happens? The breeze comes down the mountain, right? Cold air sinks, warm air rises. Now the big difference here is you'll notice one was daytime, nighttime, right? Just like the sea versus the land. Here's a fun one, Chinook winds, or foehn winds. These are warm winds that move down slopes of a mountain. So this is a Chinook wind right here, nice warm wind. Right. Why are they called Chinook? Well, Chinook is the Native American word for snow eater. Well, usually this is cold up here on the mountain, cold up here, and so the Chinook wind comes in and it's warm. What happens? The snow evaporates. And because of that, they call them the snow eaters, the Chinook winds. Catabolic winds. These ones are not fun. I will never experience a catabolic wind. I mean, I know, never say never, because we also said we'd never move to Denver, and that's where I lived for 8 years. Anyway, but I really do not want to experience these. These are cold, dense air moving down slope over top of cold, dense air. So this is the example here, the Antarctic Plateau. Right, and the Antarctic coastal plain. And the cold air is coming from the ice-covered plateau down to the ice-covered plain. Cold, dense air. Yeah, no thank you. Country breezes. Well, these come from the country to the city. Uneven, it's caused by uneven heating. Green grass, black